Oh, yeah. I am rusty at this. Welcome to podcast 156. Um, Welcome aboard. As you can see, we're a little short-staffed this evening. Daryl's caught in a meeting, so he'll be here in a little bit at some point. Carrie's got a dinner meeting. So right now, we have just myself and Tim. And at the end of the day, we are not going to subject anybody to just me and Tim talking because nobody wants that. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump right into bringing in our guest, and then we're going to start our banter from there. So without further ado, we're going to bring in Mr. Al Paquette. Welcome aboard, buddy.
I didn't get no fancy intro, like any fancy slides like all the other guests.
Bring back out a redo.
Al Paquette.
I didn't even get a picture on the post or anything, or just a club tour banner.
Welcome to administration. Yeah, welcome to administration.
I guess it is a skeleton staff when they leave you guys to run the podcast. So.
Pretty much. Thanks for joining us this weekend, Al. Or this week.
This weekend. Yeah, it's good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you got stuck with me, but I guess you guys heard Mitch talk enough last week, so he could have came on as well. So.
Yeah,
everybody's busy. Everybody's busy tonight, I guess. So it's all good. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Mitch's Back bowling league or something on Wednesday. So nice to see that he's back playing and his wrist is feeling better. So yeah, it's good.
Steve mentioned good commentary last week. We just patting Al on the back there. You guys did a great job on that feed. So
it was awesome.
Yeah, till we were disturbed by Henry, but other than that, it was fun.
Welcome to every day of our lives, man. That guy. Yeah. He makes sure that he is heard. That's for sure.
Nothing but love from Henry. He made it lively. We had some good laughs, I think. And I'm not a guy to go and rewatch it. I hate to hear myself talk. So, but I'm sure. I'm glad. I've gotten feedback from a few people saying that it was great. So I'm glad everybody enjoyed it. And hopefully we'll do it again.
It was great.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have you on again for sure.
We can probably go into Pro League and talk a little bit about our experience next year at Youth Challenge.
Oh yeah, so we spent Friday, Saturday running Youth Challenge provincials here in Alberta, which is, I know it's different in all the provinces, but in Alberta we run our Youth Challenge very much like the Open. So you have actually each zone sends two contingents, but they'll have a boys, a girls, and a mixed team. And then again, another boys and girls mixed team, and it's run like the Open. It's pretty awesome. But we just did our live streaming for them for the weekend, and it was awesome. We sold lots of merch. It was great. It was great seeing all the kids.
How many sweaters do we sell?
We sold 69, which is way better than selling 70. Way better than selling 70.
What was the hot product?
It is our hoodies. Our blue and red, just simple 5-pin U hoodies are $40.
Just 5-pin U.
Super comfy.
I heard a story about some potential Dream Crushers merch either being given away and some kids not wanting it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was awesome. So I mean, obviously we've learned that the Dream Crushers are kind of consistently hated around the country, or at least around the province. So we're kind of leaning into that, and it's super fun, honestly. So but we decided that we were selling some Dream Crushers hats, and we decided, with all the Dream Crushers in the building for that weekend, there was 2 people I think that were missing, Victor and Caitlin, but we got everybody else to sign 2 hats, and we gave them away to the 2 highest averages from the provincials. So they got brought up to the front of the banquet, and they were presented with these hats, and both happened to be from Calgary, so they were not as enthused as we were to hand them out.
One chucked one and one drop kicked one, and it went into the crowd. And I'll be honest with you, we kind of said a little opening spiel at the opening ceremonies, and it said 5PU stuff's there. And I said, what about these Dream Crushers? And we have 27 teams, and they were just booing us. They were absolutely just, the place was loud, and then they booed us some more at the closing ceremonies, and it wasn't like it was quiet. But the cool part is, I think all around of it, we love it, but everybody's watching 5PU, right? Everybody's watching the 5PL on Sundays. If they know that what our team is and they want to boo us, everybody had their certain teams they were wearing. And I mean, whether it was some kids wearing Holy Roller hats from GP or whatnot. So these two hats that ended up being Dream Crushers ended up going to some GP girls. And they were super excited about it. And they're wearing them, whatever. And Gerald went up and said, "You can't wear that in my center. I'm sorry." And it was just like, so I think it's just absolutely awesome because obviously our reach is going a lot further than we thought it was, right? Not the Dream Crushers, but the 5PL and everything else going on, right?
Not gonna, like, it was awesome to hear the boos rain down is just great. Like, I don't care whether you like us or hate us. Just be passionate, and if you're passionate about hating us, it's awesome.
It's the fact that the different teams are taking different roles, right? You got the Dream Catchers that are like your bad guys. You got the average pros that are kind of the goofy, kind of like whatever. You got us, the Jags. We're kind of the underdog. Everybody wants to stomp on us. We got our nicknames, and then you got everybody else, right? So it's neat how it's unfolding, kind of thing, right? They each have their own identity, and that's what we wanted, right?
Yeah, the league is slowly taking on personalities.
Yeah, exactly. You're starting to learn them, right, from the first season. Now we're on to season 2, and I'm sure that'll just build up. And those rivalries or that little chirping back and forth is what the sport needs, and it's fun.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's funny because like Michaela, she happened to be one that won one of the hats, but she was talking to us earlier in the week, and I was like, she's like, no, like I cannot wear a Dream Crushers hat. And I'm like, why? Like she's not on a team in Calgary. Why? She cheers for the Yankees. We're basically the same thing as the Yankees.
Basically, yeah.
Right? So like, how can you not cheer for us? You're supposed to cheer for winners.
Yeah, there's a story about Adam and with one of the kids, but we'll leave that off. But I love it. I just absolutely love it. And so let's speak about maybe a swap, kind of move topics here a little bit, but. I know LeBron James.
Sorry, 1 second before. I just want to say one thing really quick. Mike Greenlee's watching tonight. Congratulations on your 410, your first 417 years, I heard. Was it 17 years? So congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah. It doesn't get lower than that. See, look, they just love all the loves coming in. Carlos Correa. Look, that's just great. Oh, David Wells. You know what, Ryan? I'm not drunk playing, so you're okay. But love you guys. But anyways, let's talk a little about LeBron James being Abdul-Jabbar on his all-time record points list. Do you guys think that he's the GOAT?
Nope.
Al does.
It's just the titles, right? It's the titles that MJ has, and the fact that he took a big break compared to LeBron's longevity and his a little bit more of an all-around game. So there's an argument that can go both ways, really. But MJ to go to 6 finals, 3-3 after his break, and to be 6-time whatever finals MVP, to do that and to go play professional baseball in between or whatever, it's
it's mind-boggling.
It just kind of you can't deny him that, but it's all about perspective. There's a case that can be made for both, in my opinion. I'll be the devil's advocate kind of thing and be like, can go either way. I'm not a huge basketball guy in the first place, so it's not whatever. But if you look at, I'm a stats guy, so if you look at the stats, all-time leading scorer, he still got 4 titles. He did it with different cities. He did it with different teams. He's top 5 in rebounds, top 5 in assists. All these different stats kind of thing that say, well, he's pretty good.
Yeah. There's no doubt that LeBron is amazing. There's no doubt LeBron is amazing. But I just can't. I can't put him as a GOAT.
I get it.
I can't. And at the end of the day, I think, again, MJ takes that big break. You're absolutely right. Like that obviously affected where he was in the stats side of things for sure.
Because that was in his prime too, basically. Like those were 3 or 4 whatever prime years that he missed.
But the thing that about MJ that I think was so good was that he made everybody around him better. He may have been a dick, but he worked hard and he made everybody else work hard and he made his team get better. Whereas LeBron goes to a team, he's like goes and talks to the management is like, bring me in these people, bring me in these people, bring me in these people. And I can't stand that. I cannot stand a guy who thinks he's running the organization. It bothers me. I just don't like it.
So I'm an MJ guy, obviously. I think LeBron James is a great player, but I think we're gonna have the same conversation in just a little bit when Ovi breaks Gretzky's record, right? And it's the same kind of thing. I think they're two different generations, two different ways of playing things. I think Ovi I don't know how the goalie in the defense doesn't know that he's gonna be shooting from the side there. It happens all the time. He's a shoot first guy. He's not a passer. It's a totally different thing altogether compared to Gretzky. But I look at it, and if you look at the points per game in the 90s, and even the late 80s, it was a tough league. Two different generations of basketball, I think, because it was a tough league. I mean, you're getting 90 points a game, 95, 105 was a great game, not 120, 130 nowadays, right? So if you look at it, and Abdul-Jabbar only had one 3-point shot his whole career.
Yeah.
So those are all 2 points, right? I just think that there's two different generations. I think MJ for his generation was a hell of a player. If I had my own personal thoughts, if MJ and LeBron played in this generation, I think MJ would have schooled him. I think just how his mentality was, and I think LeBron would be beat up in the old school hard-nosed basketball. I just think that's kind of because he whines a lot, and I just can't stand it.
He might whine less if he was in that, though, because it doesn't get you anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a flop, that's for sure. But, yeah, I don't know. It's conversation we can talk for days, I'm sure, and not get anywhere. So it's I'm okay with MJ. Can't deny that.
Yeah. Speaking about Ovi, are you hoping that he catches Gretzky's record?
I'm a big Ovi fan, so yeah, 100%. Yeah. Best goal scorer, probably. Again, he had a lot of longevity, but again, he missed a couple seasons too with lockouts and bubble crap and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But he's been, ever since he's been in the league, everybody keeps saying that, the way he plays, it won't be sustainable. Well, knock on wood, he's been fairly healthy his whole career.
He's been really good about that.
And the guy's a monster. He's like 6'3", 6 something, like 240 pounds, and he's a big dude. He's a big dude, and he just, like you said, he scores from the same spot for the last 16 years, and nobody can figure it out. It's just his hockey sense too, right? He knows how to get open. He knows how to run the power play properly, and they just can't fool him. The shot keeps getting better and better.
Ovi reminds me, Draisaitl reminds me a little bit of Ovi in a way. He shoots on the other side of the wall. But everybody knows it's coming, and somehow they don't save it every time, right?
Just great at positioning for shots. Like he can pick his corner.
It's unreal.
Very, very good. Yeah, you're right. I'm mind blown at his longevity. It blows my mind. But I mean, it's not like he's a physical specimen either, you know. And then, but you look at him and you look at Phil Kessel, and you're like, maybe they're onto something. Maybe they're onto something. Maybe drinking Coke on the bench is the way to go.
Well, that's the funny part, is that I'm 36 years old, and knock on wood for myself, been pretty healthy my whole life. And then I got my buddies that are like half my size, and they can't walk after a day's work, kind of thing, right? It's like, well, see, being fat is a good thing, Sorry to that health person that was on a few weeks ago. Whatever, I don't want to hear that, but it's kept me healthy and kept me in good shape. I can bowl long, like even bowling tournaments. A lot of people complain that they're sore, and I'm like, I'm good. My fingers hurt, but like I have no sore limbs. I said I don't have a sore back. I don't have none of that stuff. Whatever. And it's like, I guess perks of being fat. I don't know, loss of cushion. I don't even know. Like,
honestly, whatever. 20 games doesn't affect me. It doesn't bother me. I don't get sore. It's nothing. And I remember being at club tour this year. And Mitch literally looked at me and being like, he's like, I don't get it. How the fuck do you play so many games and not hurt? I don't get it. It makes no sense.
Just the fingertips. That's the only thing that hurts is the fingertips. But muscles and stuff like that. No, you sweat a lot. Let's be honest. Maybe sometimes there's a lot of, especially at club tour at Nebs this year, whatever. That was
It
a little
was
warm in August.
It was moist in there. Yeah.
But moist is saying it lightly. But yeah. So there's definitely some disadvantages to being fat. So don't be fat. It's not cool. But yeah, catches up with you. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but you guys had the good years then, right? I mean, you gave it your all during that time, so you have good times. I mean, we're about 15 years away from Steve, so we're good.
Yeah, we're in our prime right now.
That's a scary thought. That this is our prime.
This is pathetic.
You're on because obviously you guys made some club tour announcements yesterday.
Yeah.
Was it yesterday?
Monday.
And we know it's been in the works for a little while, but why don't you go through everything that you guys announced on Monday then?
Yeah, so obviously for those who didn't know, you guys can go check out the club tour information page on Facebook. But we're going to start a tour. It's going to be called the Club Tour for the first year anyways. See how things roll as a first year trial to gauge interest and stuff like that. We kept it pretty small. Between Mitch and I, we've had numerous conversations. We've spoken with Jeff as well at Nebs, and we kind of started with the, I guess you can say the three biggest cash tournaments in Ontario right now being Nebs, which obviously has been going on for a while. It used to be on Thanksgiving weekend, but last year they brought it to August, which had the biggest turnout ever, I think, over 300 and some entries, if I'm not mistaken. The January Club Tour, which used to be at Elmira, but was at Hopedale and Oakville this year. And then Timmins in February. So basically we'll have a tournament in August, January, and February. So we'll take those three tournaments and we'll make it'll basically be a tour. So you basically just pay an additional entry fee to enter the tour. And then basically that is committing yourself to two of the three events. You can go to all three if you want, but only two of the events will count. Your two best events will count towards the final standings. So, I guess that's like pretty much it. Like just with regards to the events, like obviously they're going to be run independently, so nothing's really going to change with regards to structure. The tour is not taking over, the actual tournaments themselves, kind of thing. That'll be kind of just something separate that me and Mitch will basically manage as kind of our tour representatives for the first year. So basically, you have to pay your tour fee before you were to bowl a qualifying shift if you want it to count towards the tour. But pretty very similar to what the WCBT is doing and probably what it did in its infancy stages. You guys probably started at 3 or 4 tournaments. Now you guys expanded to 5. But we've talked about this in Ontario for a long time to get some events going, and we've started to see a few other events come up. So there's potential for growth in the future as well. But we figured we start with the I call them the 3 OG events kind of thing, the original events. And we'll see how it goes. Like, we have no idea. We figured, 20, 30, maybe 40 entries kind of thing would be good for a first year. And we'll see how it goes. But the point structures, we posted them on our page, so you can kind of see how the point structure works. The point structure was kind of a child from the Jarrett Couchman Ontario Cash Tournament standings that he had started a few years ago, kind of thing, which I think he just released the updated standings today. So the point structure, we made a few minor changes, but we just wanted to basically start a tour, see if we can get people to commit to 2 or 3 events in Ontario, see how it goes, and then like I said in my post too, and like we've talked with Mitch already and Jeff, is the possibility of expansion in the future. We're very aware of, Midland being a tournament that just kind of started up, but they only had 2 years under their belt. So, but they've been growing fast too, and is becoming more and more popular. That stops in June. And then there's also the Quebec Classic as well. So they're only going into their second year as well. So we're just trying to see what to do with those events kind of moving forward. But talks for their season 2 are already in the works as well, with some other associations as well. So a little breaking news, but we won't peel that banana too much. But there's been lots of good feedback over the last couple days to for the excitement, I guess, behind it, for people wanting to join and saying it's about time, or it's a good thing for Ontario, because a lot of us in Ontario, myself included, love what you guys have done with the WCBT, and unfortunately, it's just not realistic for us to go travel out west, unfortunately, right?
Totally.
And it's something that, I think you guys have mentioned a lot of times, if not Mitch has mentioned a lot of times, that there's so much talent in Ontario and even Quebec, because they're a huge supporter of our tournaments in Ontario as well, and even at your WCBT events. So they head out to almost everything. So yeah, it's just really exciting to bring it to Ontario to start something anyways, right? It'll be small. It'll be very kind of basic to start off. We just picked Club Tour as a name because it's an existing kind of brand, I guess you can say. They have an existing page. We didn't want to start creating a bunch of new stuff, because if we're looking at expansion in the future as well, if we start looking at Quebec, or if we start looking at Midland, or we start looking at Newfoundland, you never know how far this can go. So we didn't want to call it the Ontario Bowling Tour or specific to us. So we wanted to keep that door open. So basically it'll be the Club Tour. There'll be the 3 stops. Nebs, the one in January right now is kind of to be determined. We're hoping it'll be back at Oakville, at Hopedale Lanes, but they just ran their first event, so they're still kind of going over some numbers and stuff like that to see if it's something that they want to do again, which is totally fine. But there is a backup plan if need be. So that event will be happening. There's also speculation that the date might change to a week earlier to potentially accommodate those that have the open qualifying on the last weekend of January.
That's actually, that was going to be my next question. So that's awesome. That's good to hear.
So that's, again, possibility. So something to keep an eye on. That's why on our poster it's kind of showing as a TBD right now, to be determined. So hopefully that'll be ironed out before the whole season starts, obviously. So, but just the timing of the release and stuff like that, obviously with Timmins being next week, we thought it was a good time to start the conversation, start the discussion, iron out kind of any details and stuff like that. So that was basically kind of the reason behind the timing of it all, because a lot of the bowlers in Ontario will be in Timmins next weekend. So we're excited for that, and we're excited to hear what everybody has to say. And you guys invited us on here. So yeah, if anybody has any questions or any thoughts or whatever, feel free to spitball them out, whatever, and we can definitely try to answer them for you.
As I mentioned, I saw your tour final format, and that's a unique format. I don't know where you guys got that from, but
I obviously wrote the post, because we know Mitch can't write like that, but but then Mitch is he's like, yeah, you should probably put a shout out to TPC, whatever, because you know it's gonna come out that there's like the same format. But again, that's even that projection, like, we don't know, like, that's 40. Yeah. That's based on 40 members. Is it going to be a top 8? We just wanted to put something out there.
Yeah, you'll get 40.
So we just wanted to put it out there to have some kind of structure, and that's kind of what we've been working on. Because we probably started talking about this probably maybe just before Christmas kind of thing, and then obviously we just took a couple of weeks off and said we'll talk about this come the new year kind of thing, and we tried to get a lot of the information out for Hopedale kind of thing. I think I had posted a little teaser of like the 3 logos of the tournaments kind of thing on my page, saying that something was coming kind of thing. So just to get some information up, build up the hype a little bit. But no, I think the feedback we've gotten has been good so far. Everybody's excited, and we're excited. We're excited to see how it goes and see how this grows moving forward.
Hey, Al, got a question for you. Hey, guys, Daryl here. How you doing?
Welcome. Who's this guy?
Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
Welcome aboard.
Al, I think I heard you say, are you moving the January date back so it's not the open qualifying one? Is that?
It's a possibility, yes. It's still to be determined, but it has been posted on someone's page that we might be looking. So I think the information's out there. So it's not a secret.
Usually it's that 27th, 28th, right? Like that's
usually it's the last weekend. And even in Northern Ontario, we had our qualifying on that weekend. In the past, we used to have it on that weekend. They recently changed it to November a couple of years ago. But anyway, so it doesn't really affect me in my zone in Northern Ontario. But
nice.
But like Thunder Bay, you guys, for example, right? You know, if you guys wanted to do Nebs,
yeah, that's
Nebs,
exactly where I was going with that. Yeah. So
it
is
gives
there
you the
anything else the
opportunity.
weekend before, guys? Like what I'm getting at here is that excited me. I mean, can you travel now to club tour in August and club tour in January? Of course, you come back home and you do open qualifying, but shit, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only thing that's gonna be like that would be awesome, but playing 3 events will be tough because I'll have to choose between Timmins and Regina. But that being said, if I was at the situation where
you don't have to play Timmins though, right? Like you can play the 2 club tour
but
events,
I also don't have to play Regina,
okay.
right? Because like if
True.
I'm taking best 3 out of 5 and I have a good Autumn Open, a good TPC, a good Winnipeg, then Timmins might be more feasible at that point than before too. So it'd be kind of neat to try to make both tour finals in a year.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And that's it's definitely something that could be done. You know, we had Matt and I think Ryan came up from BC to Hopedale, whatever. So they made it happen, kind of thing. Obviously, it probably didn't coincide with their open qualifyings or other commitments, but yeah, if there is a date switch, it was something that was even discussed, I think, before Hopedale, that I think Mitch wanted to move the date. So hopefully that's where we decide to go. I think there was an event in Southern Ontario, I think maybe a Masters or a youth event kind of thing that might have complicated things the week before.
Nothing in Alberta, guys. Like you have Masters the first weekend, usually 5th.
It's just I have something that weekend, but that's irrelevant. It's you guys. There's nothing bowling else.
You'd have AGM. Is that what it is?
Yeah. But I mean, that's one person. I'm not really worried about that.
Yeah. No, but I just as a whole, if it was a big,
it's a very good weekend.
And that's why we did the tour finals at Nebs too, like kind of before the start of the next season as well.
Idea.
It's because everybody, it's kind of like the flagship, the start of the season. It's obviously the biggest event, the biggest venue. And obviously Jeff and Tom stepped up and kind of offered us the lanes for free of lineage too. So, this way we can pay out everything. And it'll be kind of like a little mini tournament before the actual Nebs event starts for the following year kind of thing, right? So
yeah, I honestly really like that because at that point, Mitch won't have a wrist left after the tour finals. So
again, it's only top 8, so he's going to go 5-4-3 if he gets to the final. So it's only 11 games in one day.
Yeah.
Plus any concessions. So.
No, that's cool.
Jeff brought up a question. Who does Greg beat in the finals this year, Timmins?
Greg hasn't made the finals in Timmins in like 5 years, it feels like. But there's a COVID year in there somewhere. But
so my guess, the way that the club tour runs is probably Bobby Torville. Right, because Bobby comes in second no matter what. So.
He makes a run in a lot of them. He won our high roller last year, so he probably blew himself the first day kind of thing, and then didn't have anything left. But he played well in Timmins last year too, and he played well in Hopedale too. He finished in the top 4, if I'm not mistaken. He almost made the finals.
How many make the tour finals for club tour finals?
We posted 8 right now, and that was kind of based on 40 entries. So, like, unless we have, like, 12 entries or something like that we might not take top 8 kind of thing.
Based on 40. Now, the point system, do you have to bowl in at least 2 out of the 3 events?
You have to commit to 2 events, yes.
Okay, you can't just come in and win Nebs and then
get an auto win. No,
for next
year.
Okay,
no,
you have to play at least 2. Yeah. But if you at least go to Nebs and you play real well, top 4, top 8, why would you not commit to, hey, I'm going to go play one of these other 2 events now, and I'm going to forego maybe Regina, like you say, Dex, right? There's some thought process going into here to having more people play it.
I'm not trying to sound like a dick here. I've always wondered about this for the WCBT too. So if you win, it's an auto win, right? Usually it's an auto win with the way the points work.
Usually,
So what happens if I take $200, send it out your way, I get a 0 score for that tournament?
I actually thought about that today. I was like,
That is, you are a dick. That's exactly the answer. That's exactly the answer.
I thought about it, right? Because I was like, I
thought about it today, whatever. I'm like, what's preventing somebody from doing that? Would they be, if they pay their money as an entry and then, they're not even physically in the bowling alley, then I don't know.
I think they got to at least one 8-game qualifying shift. Somebody's got to make the rules somewhere along the lines.
Or hey, if I'll pay the other 2, then I'll pay $400. Like, I'm good. Like if you
then the answer is no, Tim. No, the answer is no.
It should be a no. I agree. It's a little bit unethical. If we're going to run a proper tour, then that would be an unethical decision. So no.
Okay.
Well, yeah, no, it's exciting to see, and just like you said,
40 people.
Well, maybe it could be more, could be less. That's kind of the number we worked off of, and if we get 40 in the first year, I think I'd consider that a successful first year. But we'll see how it goes. So far, the feedback's been really good. But again, it's one of those things where are people going to commit to bowling at least 2 of the events? And obviously, our demographic up here or our participation is a lot more geared to Southern Ontario. So we're hoping that the tour will attract a lot of the Northern Ontario bowlers as well to head out to these events. Because I was the only one from Northern Ontario, I think, at Club Tour in Oakville. And, there's a lot of great bowlers in the Sudbury, the North Bay, the Sturgeon Falls area, Perry Sound area that should be going to these events because they come to Timmins, and it's the same drive, if not less, to drive to Oshawa or drive to Oakville or wherever it ends up being. So it's like, why don't they go out to these things? They love it. They're great bowlers. So, you saw with Lyle at Nebs this year, right? Like Lyle, we all know he's kind of a gem, whatever. And, he bowls really well and it's kind of a coming out party, but he doesn't bowl anything else.
Yeah.
That was his first time out kind of thing, but he comes to Timmins and he always bowls well here too. So it's like, there's certain guys out there that can definitely compete with the best of them. And those are the kind of guys that we're trying to entice to say, hey, just commit to 2. Come to Timmins and then do one of the other ones. Do Oshawa or
events.
It
just makes the game overall so much better by having the opportunities for them to play and to play for something too.
Yeah, and if you play Nebs, you don't make the cut. Well, you know what? You still got 2 other events where you can go to, and especially for the Sudbury crew, I really envy them because I wish I can be within 3 hours of bowling tournaments. But when I got to go to Oakville or Oshawa, I got a 6, 7, 8 hour drive one way. To each event kind of thing. Luckily, I host one, whatever, so I do save a little bit there. But it's a lot of weekends, a lot of cash, a lot of mileage, and
do you think that would Quebec come in at some point as part of the club tour as adding another event? Is that a conversation that's in the mix?
Yeah, you probably missed a little bit of that as you were late. But no, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, Midland, the 400 North tournament that Mike Torville runs in Midland, and then we have Matt Leonard's Quebec Classic too. We even spoke to the NBT about it a little bit as well with Shane over there, kind of thing, to see what there's interest out there. Yeah, and like we posted it on Monday, and we got flooded with a bunch of different messages, and it's good. It's what we wanted, and some people want in like right now, kind of thing, right? And it's like, well, right now we just want to get this off the ground, kind of thing, as a first year, see how it runs, take some constructive feedback off of it. Let's run it for a year, and then see how it grows from there. And we're definitely open to expansion and stuff like that.
So
it
doesn't start until next year, then, right? Like, doesn't start until Nebs. Like, there's no you're doing I see you've got standings there, Dex. I don't know if that's for this year. Or that's like,
this is like our 5PNU rankings.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Like
that's what this is.
If you're not giving away points for the last 2 tournaments that have already happened. Are you doing like a hypothetical standings of, hey, if you played in these 2 events, this is where you'd hypothetically be here? Maybe
we technically could, I guess. Gotcha. Based off of the point structure that we decided, we can go back to Neb's results and assign points as needed, kind of thing, and then do a mock kind of standings after the first 2 events going into Timmins this weekend. We could, that would just, but then that's assuming everybody would be in, right? Because it could happen where we have an event where somebody wins Nebs or Club Tour in Oakville or Timmins, and they're not a tour member. So you know what? That 180, 200 points, whatever, is not even really claimed in the standings, right?
Yeah.
So it's.
I think you got to do it hypothetically that everybody would be signed up just as from an advertisement, and you may not have that done this week already for that. That might be a bit much of a challenge for next week, but even after Timmins, you could do that as you're leading up into the promotion for next year, saying, "Hey, this was your top 40 from last year going in." Right? There's just marketing opportunities there.
If you look at the Ontario Cash Tournament standings, you'll actually see like the last 2 tournaments. The point structure is very similar to that, so you can get a pretty good idea. if you were to just kind of sort, I guess, the totals from those first two columns kind of thing. So the point distribution is already there, because that's not a tour. That's just everybody, right? So it's just it would be pretty accurate. So you can see where everybody would stand. I would just have to take those two columns and then just make a total off those two, and then we can get some standings pretty darn quick.
When you were talking about like expansion and stuff like that, obviously that's a little bit away, but do you have plans for like congruency? Do you have plans on like what would be required for other tournaments to join? Like for us, for WCBT, for example, we have to have minimum of like 125 entries sustainable before they were considered to join WCBT.
Yep.
And
we kind of
minimum of like $200 an entry fee. I know Timmins has been working their way up in entry fees over the last couple of years. Is that something that you guys are considering moving forward?
I don't think it's something that we're going to, mandate, because obviously I think Nebs is at like 220. The club tour in Oakville was at 200, and Timmins is sitting at 180. I think at one point we probably want to get to that 200 mark across the board kind of thing. So that might be something for next year. This year is the big jump, really. Like last year was 140 an entry in Timmins, so we moved it up $40 to 180 this year to try to get closer to those WCBT events. And again, it's 100% payout, which we've been very lucky with over the last couple of years with the accommodation tax and stuff like that we've been able to receive. So now that extra $40 a head is just going out in prize money. So that'll be huge. So if we get to 200, Mitch has been pushing for this for like 10 years. Same with Greg and some of the guys, whatever. Right? They're always like, increase it. And I'm not a huge proponent of change too much, but it's at 180 now. We're happy with that. Obviously, you got your side pots and stuff like that too, right? So our prize board is pretty decent as well.
Yeah, exactly. 180 isn't bad. There's just a big difference between like a $200 tournament and an $80 tournament.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So
so we're getting up there, and I think it's fairly priced, and it's been good. Obviously, we're on track for hopefully another record year this year. So that should put us over the 170 mark. We're sitting at 230-ish right now, kind of thing. So hopefully, with 3 buys and such like that. So hopefully we hit the 180 plus. Hopefully get to 200. Who knows? I'm still accepting entries, whatever. There's still people messaging me on the daily, whatever, trying to get some information and stuff. So we're hoping to get a few of those as well. So back to club tour. I see Mark posted a question. Hopedale and Timmins just be a few weeks between each other. Timmins has always been on Family Day weekend. It's been going on for 30 plus years now, so it's kind of a staple. So it'll be Family Day weekend. Sometimes that falls on Valentine's Day, sometimes it doesn't. The last couple of years it hasn't, so it's been good. But Timmins will stay on Family Day weekend every year, and then club tour going back. It used to always be the last weekend of January, so yes, it was only a couple of weeks apart, but hopefully we'll be bringing it back a week earlier. So I guess the third week of January kind of thing would be, but that's not determined yet.
And then, do we know that Nebs is staying August? I mean, they obviously announced for this year coming up. It's pretty much like that's the staple now. Going to be.
I think,
especially with tour finals. I mean, that gives you,
Yeah, it's a good weekend. It was a great venue. Obviously, they had a great turnout last year. I think it's probably just going to grow from the feedback that people have brought forward. I think even you guys out west, I'm sure you guys all had a blast, and I'm sure I would expect probably a few extra people this year from your end. I don't run Nebs' tournament, so again, all the individually kind of independent events. So Jeff, England, and Mitch will still be running Nebs. Mitch will be running the January club tour, and then I'll be running Timmins. So we're still going to do our own things individually, but as a tour, obviously, we're all going to work together to get this done. But I think Jeff is really happy with it in August. I think it really worked out for him.
Yeah.
And I think it ran really smooth. Everything was pretty good, other than the moistness.
So you said how many entries right now for Timmins? You're looking. You have 230 unique entries so far signed up.
Not 200. We have over 120 12 individual bowlers and 230 shifts in right now.
That's pretty good. I mean,
Yeah, we're
what's normal for Timmins?
a record year last year was 167, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're hoping we should be pretty close to that, if not a little bit higher than that.
And that's next weekend, right, Timmins? Not
next weekend.
Not this weekend coming up.
Yeah, next Thursday we have we start with our high roller event. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's what's that event about again? Only 8 guys, right?
No, we're actually up to 24 this year.
24 for the high roller.
24 at $500 a pop. Yeah.
Shit,
and then
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's going to be half elimination. So it's going to be an 8-game block to start. Bottom half gets eliminated. Top half gets their money back. Then we're going to go from 12 to 4.
8-game block.
Yeah. Bottom 12 are out. So as long as you're not 13th, you're good. You can finish 12th or 1st. It doesn't really matter. I guess.
And then you get your beans back.
You get your beans back, and then we go from 12 to 4 with a 5-game block.
Okay.
So there's be a 5-game set, and then we get to the final 4, and then the final 4 will be a 3-game match play. So you play everybody once, and then you get the 50-point bonus for wins, and then we get the top 2 will move to the finals, and then I don't even know what the. I think it's just a 1 game. I think it's just a 1 game straight for the finals.
So 17 games they're playing. Hey.
Oh my god.
It's gonna be a little bit of a marathon, but yeah, should be fun. We got 24, format. and we've had people back out and stuff. I was able to refill quite a few spots and stuff like that. So if everybody would have showed up and went through with it, we probably had over 30 people interested.
I think the 500, the 8-game qualifying is what attracts 24 people to play. Right, it's not a match play, 5 games like TPC is.
And that's what I wanted to do, right? I didn't want I obviously bowled your invitational, and it's whatever. It's a great event to do it once, in my opinion. You know, if you get the opportunity, do it if you can. But you run into a guy that's hot, you know, you can bowl 1,500 for 5 and lose if the guy shoots 15 and a half. Versus if you do an 8-game block with 24 people, all you got to do is beat half the people there, and you make your money back. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it entices a little bit more people to join, kind of thing, right? Because you don't have to finish first.
It's sort of like you're playing a mini tournament, right? Like,
yeah.
On a committee standpoint, I like the fact it's an 8-game block, because if you end up with 22, you end up with 23, it's 25, you can still change your payout, but you still only going to take your top 12, right? So
yeah, you could.
It does save you a little bit of a hassle. Somebody drops out last minute, you can make it work, right? Where it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're not too strapped, but ahead of time and stuff to confirm everybody's involvement. I think we have Chantal's joining it this year. I think she's our only female bowler joining, so excited to have Chantal up here and shooting her shot with everybody else, and it's awesome to see. Got a good field, I think. Had a couple people back out, but still a strong field. You know, Bobby coming in last year as our winner, and Sylvain and Max and Alex and all the Quebec guys are in there, Chantal as well. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I'm excited to see JB's part of it too. He's coming up. He's all jacked up for that too. So
do you have a list of all of those? I know WCBT guys are always promoting those lists of who plays in shifts, and I think it's fun for people to look to see who's playing, you know, the same shifts.
Yeah, you can have a look at it if Dexter wants to open up the Timmins Invitational page. All the entry lists are updated there. And,
doing a little freestyle Timmins preview show for you next week.
There you go. Yeah, it's we're looking forward to it. It'll be fun. It's always fun. It's always fun. We might have 5-Pin Universe doing the live stream, breaking news.
Right.
So props to Carrie for helping out with that. So we're looking forward to see what's going to be Jimmy rigged, and a little breaking news too. We might have some mic'd up moments as well. I got a couple wireless mics, whatever. So we might slap it on some boys who want to. Or girls who want to put it on during the qualifying shift while they're on the stream or something like that. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. We'll see who I hand over the mic to. There's probably a few people that I won't hand it over to, but
You
But,
should like when Dexter was playing the Open qualifying. Dex, you were averaging 310 and 290. We should have thrown out you then. Like you're super comfortable then. Or in a qualifying like.
You would not have wanted to hear the conversations.
But when a guy is like, when do you give it to a guy when he's in the mix fighting for it, or do you give it to a guy who's just blowing through things and it's like, hey,
well, that's the thing, right?
You're making the cut now, man. Like, let's chat it out.
You're gonna have. That's why I'm gonna keep the mics close to me so nobody just steals them and goes off on these things. Because obviously we're representing 5-Pin Universe, and we're also representing Timmins Invitational and the city of Timmins and stuff like that. So we want to keep it somewhat PG, but I think it'd be a cool inside little something different. I've always mentioned it. I think I mentioned it on the commentary that I did on the weekend, and it's always fun. I've always wanted to do a mic'd up match, see what people are doing in the pit kind of thing, right?
Totally.
See what they're talking, see who's involved, in the bowling, who's swearing it, well, who's kind of saying what kind of thing. So it'd be different to see as the live stream.
Mighty Plucks haven't played Average Pros yet, have you? So
that's what it was during the live stream or the commentary, whatever. Henry had jumped on, whatever, and I said Henry, we'll have to do a mic'd up night when we play each other, and he said he was in. So
I haven't gotten to that part. I've been rewatching it, and I was like, man, you're a professional commentary host. I'm like sign this guy up for the rest of the season, man. Yeah.
But
I've always wanted to get like a 3D, because you can get the 3D cameras, and I just wanted to put it in the pit in the middle of an open. Open match, just so that you can, record a full 360. You can go back and watch it, and you can look in any direction and like hear what people are saying and just see the intensity and stuff like that. I always thought that would be super cool. I think during the cash tournaments and stuff, though, miking up people would be hilarious. Very different from the Open.
Mm-hmm.
But exactly, it's just something that I've been thinking about for a while. And then while I was in Oakville for that club tour event, Barker was going around, and he had a wireless mic kind of just pinned on his shirt. And he had this contraption in his phone, and it was just a wireless connection. And he was going around and kind of updating people, with his wireless mic and stuff like that. And I'm like, why don't we just pin one of those to a bowler, and then we can have a mic'd up, whatever live stream, and kind of see how that goes. So I came home and I ordered myself some mics, pretty much the exact same ones that Steve had, and we'll give it a shot.
Nice
we'll see what happens, but I think it's. I thought it was super cool, especially, I'm hoping obviously I'm bowling on Sunday afternoon, whatever. But if I'm not, then kind of move around with the camera, and you can update people on the live stream with matches without being directly behind the camera, which is technically right behind the pit, right? So you don't need people hearing you commentate as they're bowling. So this way, from further away, you can still provide some good commentary without being glued to the action and everybody hearing every whisper that you say, because sometimes you can hear a pin drop in those places, in those tense moments, right? So
absolutely,
this is leading to a whole lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Tune in on the live stream, see what happens.
So we were talking about your high roller event there. Do we talk about the Thursday event that sounds like is going to happen at Nebs?
Yeah, this is Nebs' thing. So this is Jeff England concoction. So you wouldn't expect anything different from the Englands, right? But they're contemplating and want some feedback on a potential 2-ball event on the Thursday night. So what the exact format would be is still kind of up in the air. I think Jeff had mentioned potentially doing an 8-game tournament, and it would just be straight 2-ball, with the potential to pay up an additional whatever amount for it to count as a potential qualifying shift if your score was good enough.
Yeah. So, which is interesting. And there might be some people that want to do that.
I don't mind the 2-ball event, whatever.
I don't mind the 2-ball
before.
You got to pay before. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean that just means you're foregoing the opportunity to throw your third ball. It just means you threw it in the gutter.
You're guaranteed throwing balls away. Yeah, you're going to be really confident that you're going to be throwing a lot of strikes.
I mean, you're throwing. So how many pins is that? I mean, in a game, you're maybe 8 marks in a game, 9 marks in a game. So 1 to 2 frames a game, you're pinning. So you're 15 pins in the third ball. What's that?
I'm pretty sure I average like 2.5 head pins a game. Okay, so you're looking at, in an 8-game block, you're looking at 20 head pins, right? So your 20 head pins, it means you're throwing away at least 5 points every time you punch.
Hang on.
Right?
So
you're looking
back this
but
up.
strikes win
You're
championships.
You're punching 20 times in an 8-game block.
That's not unreasonable, though.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah, 2.5 times a game. Yeah,
You're punching
twice a game for sure.
That seems like
there'll
too
be
high,
games
Jack.
where I'll have none. There'll be games I'll have none. There'll be games I'll have 5.
There's no chance that your average is 2.5
Yes.
head pins a game.
I don't think.
Here we go.
I don't think
No
it's unreasonable
chance.
to think that you've had a 3 head pin game and one with 1 on it, so that evens it out, doesn't it?
Over an
Right?
8-game block, you're
2
20
head
head
pins a
pins.
game?
I'm blowing my mind out if I'm punching 20 times in 8 games. No? Aren't you guys?
Well,
I guess if you're getting 80% strikes on the air time,
I'll-
but that doesn't seem like a very...
I'll be happy if I can hit the middle 20 times.
No,
again.
but like, correct me. Am I not? That this seems like somebody got to be with me here. This
Look, okay, so even if it's 2, but guaranteed it's at least 2. At least 2.
No.
So
averages out
on
to 2,
average, I would say 2 for sure. So
So
even
you're
so, that's
thinking-
16. That's 16 punches in 8 games, right? So that's 80 points
80
you're
pins.
guaranteed to throw away, right?
I think it would just be interesting to see what the scores would be. I think it would just be fun to do.
Yeah.
I don't think I would re-up on the letting it count for a qualifying shift, but I'd play in it because
Oh, I would.
I've thrown
100%
so many third balls away. I would actually like to see how the scoring would be affected by having just a 2-ball tournament.
I'm in. So okay, the other question would be, in 10th frame, would you get 3 balls, like 10 pin?
No shit, I don't know. You only get 2 strikes? I don't know.
Well, I think
you'd have to be able for the 450.
yeah,
Yeah, maybe the 10th frame you bowl all 3 there, whatever, yeah.
yeah. Here you go.
I'm
Darryl.
blown away by this stat. I'd have to see that. Where's the JB
Okay.
stat book from
So yeah.
punches?
It's plausible. I don't think. It's,
I'm more with like Joshua about the.
Yeah.
If you're on a heater, it's not 20. But if
No,
you're fighting
exactly.
to make,
If you're averaging 300, you're not punching. You're not punching 2 times.
well, I'm
still-
not because I'm missing the middle. I miss the middle more than I punch the head pin.
But
I
if
still
you're
think-
in the mix and you're averaging 260, you could very well you're averaging 260 and you're hitting the middle 90% of the time. You're punching twice a game.
yeah. If you're
Somebody's got to
you're
prove
playing
this to
well,
me. I mean,
If you're playing well, I think the players are still going to be at the top. I think at the end of the day, if you're playing well, regardless of how many points you're missing on the deck,
I want to see.
But the best one I think would be is how many times you go 5 miss or 3 pin through the hole. That's going to be a kick in the nuts, right? Right? I mean, let's face that, right? Because I mean,
For sure.
I don't know if I'm going for a spare or I'm just going for the inside, right? Just to make
Going
sure
for the
trying to
wood,
hit some-
going for the wood
yeah,
on the
going on
inside.
the other side. I think that changes perspective, right, a little bit.
But then you're not getting your 12 count on the third ball anymore. Yeah, but I think you're throwing away a lot of pins though on that third ball in a game. So your average comes way down by not.
You guys probably have stats for bowling games at your bowling center or whatever. Just take out the third ball from all your league games and see what you average.
Yeah.
See what it is. See what your 2-ball average would be.
But anyways, back to the idea for club tour for Neb.
Hold on.
I think
Hold
it's
on.
a super cool.
Oh,
Not-
Dexter's finding something.
Not done yet. Kevin Holdsworth at TPC 2021 3.1. Here, let me share this.
Well, he's bringing up the head pins per game stats.
Yeah.
When we look at Daryl's. Oh, Daryl
Said, "Prove it to me." Hey, Daryl, 2.19. You were 2.19.
Wow.
That is the grainiest image ever.
Yeah,
Can you blow it up?
I'm gonna try to blow it up.
Well, this is.
And I was near the top. Oh shit, guys! How about that?
2.1.
Well, you didn't blow yourself like you said you would. So
16
still
games
alive.
played. Yeah,
Well, or we give Daryl the opportunity to do it right now.
but I had a 78% hit rate. Okay, so out of 78,
78. Yeah. So if you were to hit 100% of the time, you're punching 2.77 times a game.
so are we calling Unsparables? What are we?
Yeah,
What's is that a head pin? Is that a split and a aces?
yeah.
So there's your proof. It's so great I got to use you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think as a standalone tournament, I think that's great. I think it'd be super fun. It'd be something different. And Nebs is the one place in the entire country that could really do it. Well, unless I guess Pro Score. You could either have Pro Score where you can end your frame, or you have Nebs where they can just program it and
do whatever they want.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Whereas
Celtronic, we can just do a 0. You can always add a 0 to it, right?
you would have to manually do that every single time. Whereas in Pro Score, you just end your frame, or Nebs, you just write it, right? So I know Mitch was like definitely pushing hard in a little group chat, being like, "This is the way he wants to see this for the future," and I can't see it.
Yeah.
You know, this is
that was getting no traction fast. It was like, let's change the score as well. Hey guys.
So I'll give you guys a heads up. About 6 years ago, when I was on the C5 technical committee, a person from Quebec brought it forward, and they run a 2-ball league in one of the centers. But then when you look at it, you know how much infrastructure each of these centers need to change in order for this to work?
Every scoring system would have to change.
So that's what it came down to. It was like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Not only that, this is the only sport that's really out there that punishes you for doing what you're supposed to do, and that's hit the middle. Right? You're supposed to be accurate. You're supposed to hit the middle, and this is the one game that already punishes you for hitting the middle lots, because you're going to get some unsparables, and that's the bad break that you're going to get. But now you're also going to exemplify that and force you to immediately take at least a 5-pin hit every time, right? So, me personally, I would hate to see that actually change into normalcy for our sport, but
it
fundamentally, single tournament, I think would be great.
It fundamentally changes the game of 5-pin bowling, and that's
right.
We're not 10-pin bowling. Like that's not who we are. Let's know who we are, not try to change the world. I know it might change time and stuff, but it's not who we are. It's like CFL and NFL. One's 4 downs, one's 3 downs. It's just fundamentally different. And
in 10-pin, you get significantly less unsparables, for one, right? And, we fundamentally changed our game when we got rid of the counterpin. And that's okay. Like, I understand that thought process, because it made the game way more fun for a lot of people, because they were actually able to get points, because a lot of them weren't good, and they weren't going to get in the corners, and they were getting 0 points. So you're not going to retain people if you're doing that. But they also did it at a time period where there wasn't infrastructure in place. It was all manual scoring, right? So making that change was really no big deal. Whereas now, when we have programs that are costing, like for our center, if we wanted to put in Cubica, you're looking at $250,000, right? Is Cubica going to be willing to go in and reprogram all the 5-pin centers out there? What if your system is older and is incapable of doing that? It's just asking a lot for centers to get on board with that. So while I would love to do it for a tournament, and I would love to do a counterpin tournament. If NEMS decided, hey, we're going to do a counterpin tournament for it, I would be 100%. I think it'd be super fun to do.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be a full-time event or anything like that, because our tour finals the following season for the club tour are actually going to be on the Thursday night as well. So, but they might decide to run 2 events at the same time. So if this 2-ball tournament picks up steam, whatever, where some people want to bowl it. But like you said, if you're punching twice a game, you're going to lose 10 pins a game.
Yeah.
Basically it. So your 280 average will now be 270 averages, or
but it's just
whatever.
A singles event, right? For this year coming up for a club tour.
Yeah,
just a singles.
I believe so. Yeah,
and entry fee. Do we know what that's going to look like?
No, it's very, very, very preliminary. Jeff just wanted some feedback as to kind of what people thought about it. So feel free to comment or whatever, and let us know, or let Jeff know, anyways, to see what it is. But yeah, just to start some discussion on it. 2-ball tournament.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just kind of brainstorming. It was an 8-game tournament with the possibility of re-upping if you wanted to before your shift, to see if it would qualify for the actual main event kind of thing. So very interesting.
Yeah. I think it'd be a super fun tournament to do just on its own.
I don't like the being able to use that as your shift. I think it's your Thursday night trios, your Thursday night quad, whatever, like at Regina, or your event. It shouldn't be tied to the main event. I think that
personally, I don't mind it, because it's not an advantage. It's not an advantage in any way.
It's a
so
gimmick.
If they want to, then by all accounts, let them. to me. I don't think it matters to me any. Like I said, it's not an advantage, so let him.
Yeah,
Sure.
it would be kind of
Sure.
silly to do it, but
Sure, it's not an advantage, but it's just it's a gimmick event. Stick to what it is, and it's a
fun
so
event,
that's why
right? It's like
make it a doubles event, a doubles 2-ball event. So it's 2 balls and
Yeah.
2 balls, or it's whatever. Like it's, and then you run something neat. It's
John, you're right. That is definitely the pro to it for sure. I just don't know if it. For me personally, I just don't know if it outweighs the rest of it. I don't know. And Greeny, you're right. You're right. 17 is altering the game too. It absolutely is for
there's
sure.
only 2 of them though, right? How many are there?
Oh, there's more than 2.
Bronx is one.
Yeah,
Bronx is 17 inches.
Yeah.
People don't
You just
realize
wouldn't be able to
Bronx is
tell.
one. Yeah, because their maintenance is like shit. but they are 17 inches there.
So the whole center is 17s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now they have black and white bases all on different pins throughout the whole center, but they're 17 inches. Yeah.
Anybody else? So that's 3 that we know of. Winnipeg, anybody?
No.
Those are the only ones I know of for sure.
What's the big restriction? Obviously, the cost to changing it to 17s, and is it really that much cost difference, or what's the why are not more people moving it over to 17s?
It's a lot of work.
Talk to me. And what is a lot of work?
Well, you have to get new. Well, I don't know what the proper word is, but your shaker boards up top where you have your pins
Yeah.
pull into the buckets. You got to get all new ones, right? So you're gonna have to get. For us, you have to get 16 new ones. You're gonna have to cut out the holes in the proper spots, move everything over, put them all back in. And is it going to be better? We're already getting way more deflection since we put in our synthetics. We're getting way more deflection already. Where the slower ball speeds are jumping to the in front of the 2 pins. It's hitting the outside of that 3 pin, and it's not getting to the 2 pins. You move those pins in a little bit more, it's going to be worse. Like for us personally, on the synthetics that we have, nobody sub 30 will get regular strikes, 30 kilometers an hour at all. So for us personally, I don't think we'd ever change that. It's just not. It's not worth it for the work that's involved. But yeah,
Fair. And you have the string tensions and all those things as they come down. They'd have to be adjusted, or is it more?
that's not really going to be a whole lot different.
Okay.
It's just building everything and doing it. And Nebs did it right away, and Nebs did a great job of it. But they got their own CNC machine, and they're building things in the back all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's
To make
they have
all
the,
those holes.
a little bit more resources to do it.
Screw them off, redo them all. It's a significant time frame to do it all.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is getting technical again, but the question is the pin decks, like the walls that are in the back where the ball returns come down, is the distance there to the back, like say pin cushion or in behind there, is that mandated? Is that the same, or can the ball return be out 4 feet and then the wall comes out further up into the pin deck into the lane? You know what I
To
mean?
be certified, it has to be within a certain range.
Yeah, there's a specs manual. If you like, maybe that's something Daryl would on the C5 website. It gives you all the specs, and it's really kind of interesting on all the specs on how they have to be, right? So
Okay.
yeah.
So they have to be within a certain parameter of how far the wood side paneling is, how wide the back gutter is to the pin cushion. They have to be. Okay. Cool.
We could find it here if you'd like.
is this the Dexter rulebook corner?
Yes.
Oh no! Don't even start out. Don't.
You know,
Sorry, just got a
Brad was asking about it.
Oh yeah, there you go.
We got to be losing viewers right now.
The distance from the end of the lane to the nearest point of the pin cushion shall be at least 25 inches and not more than 30 inches.
25 to 30 from the back of the pin deck to the pin cushion.
Yeah. No, you were there.
And then what about the sidewalls?
That I'm not sure of.
What about the height to the...
Where's the lane certification guys out here?
What about the height of from the bottom of the base of the pin, the lane,
Well,
to the roof?
How would you send Daryl the information and he can read up on it?
No, not gonna happen. I just have a couple of quick questions here.
There you go.
They're not quick.
Yeah. But like, how high until the wall? Like that piece of plywood where you have the pins go through, like the height. Can those be dropped down and lowered so that the pin, as it goes up, it hits it, comes back down quicker? What's the distance?
You mean from like above, like where the pins are held?
Yeah.
You don't want to do that, Daryl.
You don't want to bring them down.
No, you don't. So, from past experience, now obviously synthetic lanes wear way less than wood do, but when we were getting our lanes sanded, normally you have to replace 2 or 3 pin pucks where the pins come down and sit on those black spots. You normally have to replace 2 or 3 of those. We were having to replace 30, and it was because our lanes, when they were installed in 1982 in a new building, they were installed too low. Every machine has a slowdown cycle, and well, at least our CA ones do. And if you don't have it high enough, you don't hit that, and your pins are just slamming into the lanes. So you gotta wear down your bases,
gotcha.
You gotta wear down the lanes, and your pins are never gonna set proper.
Gotcha. So the triangle board, as Warren calls it. Thanks.
Yeah,
buddy.
triangle board. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so you don't want that. There's no. I mean, would it actually help the scoring? Probably not, right?
So, do you know what the crazy part is? And I will say this: there was one proprietor I saw out there post a photo trying to get better pinfall this week, and he put bands in between the up above on the triangle board to see if they get more ricochet for some reason.
In between where the pin buckets, which is odd to me because like that's not going to help. It's just going to make erratic pinfall. You know, you're going to hit it and it's going to shoot off one direction rather than where it's supposed to go. It's just strange. Different. Do you have any other questions, Daryl?
Yeah, can you? Yeah, well, as Tim says, rubber. What else can you put like an elastic band onto the triangle board so when the pins hit it, they come back down? But again, you don't want that because you're just going to damage your lanes.
I will say there's maybe some lanes that we know that might tie their 2 pins up in the top of the machines, and so it'll swing around and kick back.
Is that lane 6 in Grand Prairie or what?
Oh, yeah.
After watching those guys, those pins flying on Sunday.
Hey, so I heard they moved that monkey to different lane. So if they change their lanes, we know why.
I don't know. I commentated on that match on Sunday, and there was some pins flying mysteriously.
We've that's happened before up there. Maybe we'll have to put them on watch.
That's why he even said that. That's why they picked that lane because the monkey's there or whatever. And
maybe we're gonna start needing some pit cameras.
Hell yeah.
You know what the disappointing part is? Hawkeye built that team so he can play on it, and he just disappoints us every time he plays, even with the monkey, right? So,
yeah, why is Hawkeye going anchor? Bud, we had this conversation in the office. It's time for you to go sit in the 3-hole. Don't be playing anchor anymore, man.
And given
you go
5
on holidays,
frames.
you come back and you're an anchor spot. What are you doing? Your team's doing well. Just go to the middle.
Anyways, how about that club tour?
Yeah, sorry, Al.
Yeah, the one thing that's going to change for club tour though, and that's actually going to start this weekend in Timmins or next weekend in Timmins, is that it's going to be a fresh start of an escalating perfect game pod that will travel to each tournament. So awesome. I'm excited to see where that goes as well. So obviously we've seen some big numbers with the WCVT events. You know, Bobby winning 15K, and I'm sure there's been some other big pots as well over the year. So I'm excited to see where that comes. And I'm also excited because, you know, Timmins is, you know, arguably one of the better pinfall houses. So I'd like to give out a big check to somebody, and that might also attract some more bowlers to Timmins to say, well, where's the best odds of bowling a perfect game for this $15,000 to $10,000 or $20,000 pot? Mm-hmm. Might be Timmins. So yeah, no, it's that's one thing that's going to start this year. So excited about that. So we'll have a little bit of probably a few grand to carry over to Nebs, assuming there's no perfect game next weekend.
That's awesome. But if Timmins is the place and, you know, most likely to throw it,
yeah,
you might.
We might. Mitch did it last year, and that was the first one since I think Pete Blanchard was the last one to do it at the Invitational anyways. So he did it several years ago too. So
What do you
cool.
somewhat expect the cut to be?
Cut this year, probably similar to last year, probably a little bit higher. They obviously with the renovations, when they did the renovations, it was mainly, kind of computer systems, lights, attractions, the masking units and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, they really did an overhaul on the machines in the back as well. They kind of leveled off all the decks and stuff like that. They rechanged the bases. I don't know if that was last year or the beginning of this year. They changed all the bands on all the pins and stuff like that. So the pinfall's improved a little bit, I found anyways, from bowling my league. So, So it's probably be a little bit higher. I'd probably say about 20, like 64 if I was going to pick a number or something like that. For a top 32 cut, we don't do consolation here in Timmins. So I think last year was 20-35 or something like that. So I figured a little bit of a jump. And the field is pretty strong this year, too. A lot of the regulars are coming up, but there's also a lot of new guys from Southern Ontario that are probably going to help bump that number up, too. So yeah, I figure about that.
So that's, you're 255, 260 there. Pushing into that 2080 zone. That's a solid cut line, right? If you're pushing 260, that's a reputable tournament that, guys have got to come and play.
Yeah, 2100 is kind of, I think, the number a lot of people strive for in Timmins, whatever. Like some of you guys over there might say 2200 for some of your bigger events kind of thing, or some of the better scoring houses like Regina, maybe TPC, stuff like that. But I don't think it even got that high for you guys this year. So I think 21 in Timmins and you're sit. If you're at 2060, 2070, you're going to be close. Mm-hmm. But 21, it should be a solid number.
Nice. Well, that's it. Guys are shooting for the 2100s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soon as you have more people there, the more quality shows up too, right? And that's the tough part. Your normal cut might go up a little bit because I think just the quality's there, right?
Yeah, that's it's awesome. The guys from Southern Ontario have done a really great job. Even the guys from Quebec too, and the girls from Quebec too, have done a really good job helping promote Timmins as a tournament too. So we've definitely seen an uptick in the caliber of bowlers, like the Sylvains, the Mitches, the Bobbies of the world. They're all coming up now, so it's nice to see them come up and support. And obviously, they're all good guys and girls too, so they're fun to hang out with for the weekend too. So it's awesome.
Do you do anything on Friday, or do you run 2 qualifying shifts Friday, 2 qualifying shifts Saturday?
For Timmins, we just run the 1 qualifying shift on Friday. We never used to have a qualifying shift on Friday. We introduced it a couple of years ago. It's an 11 o'clock start, and the reasoning behind that was to allow the Sudbury and North Bay people to potentially leave Friday morning. If they left by 6, 7 o'clock, they can still make it in time. This way it prevents them from having an extra night stay, I guess you can say, if they were to leave Thursday. But I think this year, a lot of people are coming up on Thursday because I think our biggest shift is the Friday morning now. I think we have 70 – hold on, I have my list right here. 73 people in on the Friday morning shift. And then we have a 2-ball best ball tournament on the Friday night as kind of our fun / you guys run Bakers or something like that. We run a 2-ball best ball tournament. So we do that Friday night, and then 2 qualifying shifts on Saturday, an 8:30 and a 2:30, 3 o'clock usually for the third shift. So we're still getting to 200 entries, and we're only having, or close to 200 entries, we hope, with only having 3 shifts. Is introducing a 4th shift in the cards? Maybe. But that's maybe something that I have to discuss with Nat first. I'm sure she's watching now. I've seen her comment a couple times, but maybe it's something we will have to introduce, right? Because a lot of people, we see a lot of people throwing 3, 4, even some 5 shifts, right? So why not put it out there? And the way with Timmins too, the way our current schedule works, obviously we have the Friday shift, and then we have the Friday night event. And the Friday night event, to be honest, it's a little bit of a social gathering, we can say. So who's going to wake up? Who's going to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning on the Saturday to bowl the second shift when they know there's one in the afternoon, kind of thing, right? So it's so do we introduce another Friday afternoon to try to split it up and then kind of just reduce the time a little bit? I don't know. It's up for discussion, and it's been discussed, so we'll see what happens. But we're happy with how it's running now. Like I said, back in the day, it was straight best ball Friday night, 2 qualifying shifts Saturday, and then a Sunday round. So we've expanded it quite a bit over the last couple of years to add that third shift, and now we have the high roller on the Thursday night. So that went from 12 to 24. So it's turning into an event kind of thing, right? And it's
awesome.
Sure,
we've had really good support, so we appreciate the promotion that you guys offer, and obviously the other tournaments and all the bowlers too that spread the word around.
With Club Tour becoming a thing next year, that's probably when you might want to start considering that fourth shift, right? Especially because there's a good opportunity that a bunch of Westerners will be flying out for it. And I've always wanted to go. I've always wanted to go for sure, but
it's definitely something that is going to be considered, and we always in our discussion when we started talking about Club Tour, it was like I think Timmins will probably be a huge benefactor of entries as well, because it'll be the last stop of the first tour year as well, right? So it'll be your last chance to make the tour finals, right? So if you had a crappy tournament or a couple crappy tournaments to start, well, you might want to hit up that third event if you haven't hit it up before, kind of thing, right? So hopefully we'll bring a lot of new faces next year, and I think it's really cool to have that progressive perfect game pod going. We haven't had that in ever, kind of thing. Well, I started the escalating perfect game pod just in Timmins, but it only got up to like $3,000, and then Mitch won it, kind of thing, whatever it was last year. So it'd be nice to see a big number, and because I remember bowling masters and stuff like that, and some of the perfect game pods were, $8, $9, $10,000. Dan Taylor, when he did it at the Open, I think in Timmins, won $8 or $9,000 or something like that. So
what is it for? It's Masters of the Open or something where it's like one of them is over like $30,000. Is it not?
Masters, I think it is.
Yeah,
I thought the Open
Masters
was that one won.
That was one in 2009. So, but I mean, it's been how many years?
Yeah,
13 years.
Yeah, I thought it was bigger.
Our Open one's massive. Our provincial one, because the last time that was one, I think it was either Colin Keir or Derwin Noble. That's how long ago it was.
And we would have thought last year with Bonnie Doon.
Yeah.
Al, to put you on the spot there, you had mentioned a whole whack of players who are playing. Obviously, the big names, the Mitches and the Gregs and the Sylvans and the guys and all that.
Oh.
But any other name dropping you want to throw on some of the, lesser known that you think would have a good showing, or maybe the young that are playing YBCs, or maybe some of the females, just as you're looking through the list, like, everybody likes a good name drop. So let's put you on the spot and see what you can rattle off for us.
I'm a big fan of Kyle Bollier, a young kid, kind of a couple years out of YBC. He'll be bowling the high roller this year, and a lot of the events. I know his family's really into his bowling career and stuff like that. So it's kind of one of the guys that I'd probably keep an eye out. He's a hard thrower. Should do well in Timmins. Usually bowls well in Timmins. Has made the cut in Timmins before. So it's a guy to keep an eye on. Lyle as well. I know you've probably met him at Nebs. Is always a guy that bowls well in Timmins as well. He's shot some huge scores in Timmins. So definitely another kind of Subway Northern Ontario guy to keep an eye out. Even Matt Houston. I know everybody knows who Matt Houston is, but he hasn't been up in Timmins in a long time. I don't even know if he's been back since after his win. He won Timmins a while ago, so he might be a guy that hasn't been here in a while that might play well, because he played decent in Oakville as well. But yeah, other name drops, just your regular guys. You always got Daryl Gauthier, who I think is a great bowler. He's just a little bit of a head case, and I'm allowed to say that. So because he knows he's on our Mighty Plugs team, whatever. We're good friends, and you just got to get his head into the game. But it's definitely somebody to keep an eye out for in Timmins. But yeah, no, I think Kyle will probably be the guy, in my opinion. But cool. Yeah, there's a lot of the regular guys too, like you said, even Fred Martin from the Quebec Lumberjacks. He finished second to Mitch last year, and it was his first time up in Timmins, so he's probably coming up with, aspirations to take her down too. So again, hard thrower, kind of just straight up the gut. So he'll play well again.
Good. It'll be fun to see the list and see the stats, and as things start to unfold, and who starts making their way for the cut. It'll be fun to watch. Yeah,
our stats are going to be on our webpage and on our Facebook page, so you'll be able to check them out there. Our stats team is pretty awesome at putting them out. They're usually out and about pretty quick. We're excited with the renovations, for everybody to see that. I say our renovations, not my bowling alley. This is not Barry's bowling alley. because I've had this question come up a few times at the invitations, like, oh, you run the place? I'm like, no, man, I just bowl here. but yeah, so Nats and Clint have done a lot of work. Her daughter Vanessa chipped in, and a lot of their family have chipped in. They got some new video games that came in and stuff like that. So like Neb style kind of big video games that are coming in. So they're kind of going a little bit on the entertainment side. So that'll be a lot of fun. Obviously, the new renovations are fun to see. The scoring systems will be different, so that'll be interesting as well. We even have a Bufa rep / tech guy that's coming up for the weekend and joining us. He's even bowling the best ball on the Friday night with one of our local bowlers. So it's awesome. It's going to be pretty neat to have him here, and hopefully he'll be around to make things run really smooth for us as we navigate our first year with the new system. So
that's awesome. Who's coming up?
Guillaume.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's I think he's a 10-pin bowler for the most part kind of thing, but he has dabbled in 5-pin, and he reached out and he wanted to play, and I found him a partner. So
that's awesome.
So, yeah.
Were they at Nebs as well, I think, weren't they?
They had a couple people that play, I guess, the soft belly duck pin kind of thing that were there. Part of they had a couple guys there that might have been represented by Bufa, but Guillaume, I guess, is one of their tech / installer guys kind of thing. So he's a blast, whatever. He's coming up with Sylvain, so Sylvain knows him fairly well as well. So he'll be a fun time to be around.
That's awesome. That's really exciting. So they put in Quebec. Did they put in new lanes as well?
No, they've had synthetics installed.
Okay.
I don't know, 10 years ago or so, 15 years ago. Bad with timing.
Pinfall's not changing at all. It's just the scoring system itself. That's awesome.
Exactly right. So that's why the renovations from my aspect were a little bit different than your recreational bowler. But like you said, they really did a lot of adjustments and stuff like that when it comes to the machinery. Really did an overhaul all at the same time with adjusting all their decks and stuff like that. So it's so they did put a lot of work into that. So you can tell that the pinfall is a little bit better for sure.
That's awesome.
With the new bands, the new bases. I remember Clint had pulled out one of the pins of an old pin, whatever, and it was like almost a half-inch difference kind of from the stance from a new base to the old bases kind of, and that's how the old bases were worn out. Yeah, totally. So it's it obviously affects the deflection, like you guys keep mentioning, right? So it's it'll be fun to see. I mean, I'm excited.
That's awesome. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing the live stream. Like I said, I'm really looking forward to getting out there at one point. It's gonna. Yeah,
we've heard that before. We have heard that before. I'm pretty sure I even gave somebody from the 5-Pin U broadcast or podcast a free shift into the Invitational. I believe I did that when we did either a preview show or a 5PL show, and I'm pretty sure I had offered a shift. I said, if anybody, one of you guys figure it out. I said, if anybody wants a free shift into Timmins, I said, we'll send an invite out to one of the podcast crew. So it had been you three and Carrie, probably, maybe, I don't know. I don't think Adam was on the podcast at the time, but yeah, the invite's always there. You guys are always welcome. I know it's tough. I get it, man. You guys got Regina the weekend after. It's a lot. It's a lot. I get it. So no hard feelings there. But yeah, well, you're more than welcome to come up. We'd love to have you guys here.
Yeah, it's gonna happen. I've always talked with Mitch a few times where I was like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna come out. I'm gonna play Timmins. I'm gonna hang out with you for 4 days and then fly to Regina.
Yeah, in between, right?
Yeah, you got to make it a trip out of it.
Yeah,
make it a full week or 10-day kind of bowling trip kind of thing, right? So
yeah, it's just too bad that it's not like in the summer where I could go watch a Jays game for 4 days and then.
Yeah, because the bowling alley is not that busy during that time to take 10 days off, eh?
Yeah, exactly. No big deal.
But yeah, it's hey, Herbert did it a couple of years ago or last year, I think, whatever. But I guess he was in the process of moving, whatever. But he did Timmins, Regina, and then moved back to Calgary. I think he's at right now. Yeah. So but that was a little bit different circumstances. But even Mitch does it. Greg does it. There's a lot of people that do it, but they're a lot closer to Timmins than you guys are. So it's a little bit different. So, but it's all good. Welcome. The invite's always there, gentlemen. And if anybody else wants to enter the Timmins Invitational, we still got room for this next weekend, so feel free to shoot me a little message there.
Perfect.
Awesome. That sounded so sincere.
No, it was sincere. It was sincere.
That's awesome. Yeah, super excited for all the changes. Really excited about Club Tour. That's definitely something for me to think about next year as well too. It's becoming a lot of travel for a lot of tournaments, but it's worth it. So, and the nice thing about like if I travel out to Club Tour, I don't have to do anything.
That's why I like traveling to Club Tour events. Here is like you can actually go and enjoy a tournament. That's why I went out to Regina and TPC a couple or once each kind of thing, because I just wanted to go out and just try something different and not have to worry about running a bowling tournament, right? You can just kind of focus there, have fun, and then just hang out with your buddies and not have to worry about anything in the background. So it was definitely it was fun.
Absolutely. Does anybody else have any questions for Al?
Yeah, if anybody doesn't have any questions now, whatever, just shoot me a message or Mitch a message, whoever you guys want to talk to. So, but at this. but at this point, it's exciting times. We're looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say or any constructive criticism. We're more than welcome and open to it. So, but we hope we're doing this for the bowlers. Like I said, we're just doing this. It's going to be very simple. It's going to be a quick entry, quick money transfer, and then you're going to be in. It's going to be pretty straightforward. And we'll post standings. We'll keep everybody updated like we always do for all our tournaments. So yeah, we're excited to do something, and then maybe we'll have to do a Club Tour versus WCBT event.
Yep, I totally agree.
Right?
Totally agree.
Something like that.
I think we can see the makings, and somebody mentioned it earlier. I think Ryan about national tour. I mean, as things start to take shape, you're looking 3-4 years down the road. Maybe there's one big tour, and you have different rules, or separate tours, and then one big. I don't know. It just.
It'll be cool to have the separate tours.
Yeah,
it'll be cool to see the two different tours kind of start growing. Well, you guys are obviously a few steps ahead, whatever, but it's it'll be fun. And again, this is just spitballing ideas that have been discussed. Is like we thought about potentially doing some tournaments as considered a major tournament versus some that are considered maybe 50% or 65% kind of.
Yeah,
points towards the standings kind of thing, right? Kind of like the PGA does, right? You have your you have your 4 or 5 majors, and then you have, kind of secondary and third string events kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
thought about doing something like that.
A web.com tour is what we were like forever. Because like Stetler runs a cash tournament, and then there was like was it Melville, Tim, that used to run a cash tournament?
Melville, down in
Melville. Like there's a few of like ones that were like $100 or $120 entry ones, that were like a lot of good players that used to go to. And we talk. VEG doesn't have automatic scoring, and it doesn't have certified lanes. It's got a lot of work to go.
Yeah.
But
okay, not Vegger at all.
But yeah, I always thought the same thing too. A web.com kind of tour would be awesome. You can count like 3 or 4 of those or something, and just something
different, right? It's discussions that we've had. We really thought this through, kind of thing, and there's nothing's off the table by any means. So feel free, shoot your ideas, shoot your comments. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see the growth. Great to see the growth in Club Tour that we've seen this year too, and it's just really, honestly, growth in bowling as a whole, minus like certain zones around the country. A lot of places I've seen growth, and it's
you're seeing a lot. You're seeing a lot of these cash tournaments pop up too. Like I'd be bad to not mention the Sunset Open too. That kind of Megan and Fabio, I think, tried to spearhead this year. So they're starting up a tournament there too, which was kind of fell into October this year. So again, it was just their first year. So who knows what that can become too, right? Totally. There's a lot of these kind of tournaments that might not get to a Club Tour or Timmins level, but I'm assuming they probably want to get there. So if we get the support and we start kind of growing this tour, who knows what these events can end up being. But it's exciting to see the growth is in these cash tournaments, right? It's in this professional side, right? I don't think you can compare numbers with Open or Masters versus the growth that we're seeing on the WCBT, now with the Club Tour kind of, and these cash tournaments growing and popping up like crazy, because that's what people want, man. That's what people want. Let's give the people what they want.
It's an opportunity to go compete at the highest level and hang out with your buddies, and it's hang out with who you want to, right? And it's just
you still get team events, whatever, right? And you get team events that you can bowl with the people that you want to bowl with, and these weekends are not only just the tournament. it's a weekend of socializing, right? Then it's
Exactly.
it's a little bit
Huge
less
tournament
stress
this
free.
weekend huge tourney on Friday night, isn't there?
Oh, the TWIMT, the TWMT running this Friday.
Yeah.
The TWIMT, the Tim Wiseman Memorial Tournament. Memorialize.
Is that what it's called for real?
Yeah, it's 100%. The Tim Wise. It's memorializing the death of Fun Tim.
TWMT is what it's called. The TWIMT.
Yeah.
I remember seeing the poster. Someone posted it there, and I saw it, but I didn't know what the TWIMT whatever meant. But nice, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah,
It's great. Yeah, and 32 teams full. Yeah.
in like 2
fast.
hours.
It was sold out in a hurry.
There you go.
Lots
See,
of people
love to
want
see
honor
it.
you, buddy.
Well, Daryl and I are playing together, so we'll represent 5PU good. So
Are you gonna wear your Dream Crushers, and then DB's gonna wear his Bomber shirt? Or
I'm wearing a Shut Up Tim t-shirt.
Did you actually get one made?
Just wait and see.
Yeah, that's funny because we got team shirts too. I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. Yeah, so awesome. Thank you, Al, for coming on. This was fantastic. Congratulations. Great growth. Super excited to see what comes about next year. But you're saying 40 people would be a success, and you're right, that would be a success, but I would not be surprised if you get way more than that.
you will.
Ontario is truly supporting their cash tournaments now, and that is awesome. I remember the years of like Uxbridge with $10,000 for first place, and you'd get like 100 people or 100 entries, and that's just not the case anymore. It's awesome. There's real excitement around the country and in Ontario, and it's just awesome to see that support.
Yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of it. Glad me and Mitch teamed up and got this off the ground, and yeah, just really happy to be a part of it, and more than open to field questions and anything or any information anybody needs, whatever. But yeah, really excited for next year. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks again, Al. Really appreciate you coming on. Daryl, thanks for showing up.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little late there. Nader.
And Tim, as always, thank you for your input.
I do have to say one more thing. Friday, it's Henry's 50th. So make sure you guys on Friday say happy birthday, Henry, on 50.
Yeah.
And just because I'm a junkie, I got to get some Timmins Invitational picks for next week. Who do we got? Did you guys even look at the list?
I'm gonna say Bobby. He's bound to break out sooner or later. So I'm saying Bobby.
Okay. There you go. DB's looking up the list.
Was it on Timmins what?
TimminsInvitational.com.
Is the actual list on there?
Yeah, there's an entry updates tab right down the middle of the page.
Oh, that's what it was. I was looking on the website. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Where is Taylor Michelle going?
No.
I won't pick him then.
Okay. Good pick.
Pick Greg. Pick Greg.
You can't call Greg. It's not a bad pick.
Where's it say shifts, people playing?
You know
the
what?
first page.
It's Sly's turn.
You stole it from me.
Do you know?
Oh, you've had
You know what, Daryl?
I know I have.
Daryl's done so much homework for this podcast. You can just tell.
Yeah.
I just.
We're supposed to be talking about club tour, not the Timmins tournament, but I'm just an idiot, so I just wanted to see what pick.
Okay, then I'll take
Not
Mitch.
this year.
I'll take Mitch.
We're going for defending champ, and then Tim's got Bobby, and then Dexter's got Sly. Okay.
What do you got?
Fair. Oh shit.
Yeah, you can't do that to us.
I don't know. I'll go Fred Martin.
Okay.
So yeah, there we go. We got Northern. Nobody picked Greg though.
Yeah.
Nobody picked Greg.
Yeah. No.
If anybody
Greg is
actually
stuck.
picks the right person, everybody else owes them a beer.
Okay, done.
And Henry has Greg.
Henry has Greg.
Yeah, who cares about Henry?
Yeah, who cares? Henry's been chatting with me there. We're gonna do a mic'd up mic there, so we got to figure out when we're playing the average pros on the 5PL schedule here, and we're micing it up. I'm gonna send him the link to the. Mics that I got, whatever, and he's gonna pick some up, and we're gonna mic it up.
Perfect. I don't think you're gonna want to hear it, but it'll be awesome. It'll be great. And tune in and mute. Mute. Awesome. Well, thanks again for coming on, Al. This was great. Super informative. Really excited for you guys. Yeah, it's going to be a great year next year. It's awesome.
Right on, gentlemen. Thanks for having us, and have a great week, gentlemen.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, everybody. Really appreciate it. We'll chat next week. Ladies podcast next week, is it? No, not yet.
No, next. Do it 2 weeks from now.
We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
Cheers.